Hey everybody, it's Jerry. Um, Coming to you today with a little message. Um, this message was actually given to Brother Ronnie Swafford, and I believe it's really important. Now, I've been studying Daniel and Revelation and the end time things since I've been 14 years old, and I've gone over Daniel 8 thousands of times, and this is the first time that I've heard it this way, and I don't believe it could have been revealed this way until very, very recently. So, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, this is just going to be a quick summary of what Ronnie discovered, just to let you know that Ronnie requested that I break with this, and hopefully he'll come on and elaborate for some time. He just wanted me to do it because he said, self-admittedly, he wasn't very familiar with Daniel 8 and its dealings. And um, I mean, since I've been 14 years old, I was always, before I fell away from the Lord for almost 2 decades, I was a dispensationalist of dispensationalists. I was more Hal Lindsey than Hal Lindsey, and I was more Robert Breaker than Robert Breaker. So I'm saying this not to boast in any way. I'm actually saying this because I'm probably the most unlikely person to say what I'm about to say. I'm probably the most unlikely person in all of Christendom that would know that the mark of the beast is what it is, and that we are in the last 42 months. I would probably be the least person, say a few decades ago, that would ever imagine that I would believe this way. So just to give you a little background, this isn't off the cuff. This is speaking from experience. All right, let's go to Daniel chapter 8. I just want to deal with something that's actually puzzled scholars for a long time, and I've heard many explanations of this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to deal with and I've heard of questions on this on my comments, and I've actually given explanations of this actually in the recent past, what I thought it meant, and I believe Ronnie actually got something from the Lord, and I'm going to show you why, and why you're going to find out that there's no way anybody would have even thought of this until very, very recently. All right, I'm going to go over the 2,300 days that's mentioned in Daniel 8, and you're going to be surprised as to what it conveys. First, let me read the text. All right, let's go to Daniel 8. Sorry, you're staring at my ceiling fan. I just did a workout and I'm pretty disheveled, so I'm not camera ready at this point. I've got to work today. I've got to close tonight, so you're going to look at a ceiling fan. All right, so Daniel 8, let's start in verse 11. Yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifice was taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down, and an host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression. And it cast down the truth to the ground, and it practiced and prospered. Then I heard one saint speaking, and another saint unto that certain saint which spake, How long shall be the vision concerning the daily sacrifice and the transgression of desolation, to give both the sanctuary and the host to be trodden under foot? And he said unto me, unto 2,300 days, then shall the sanctuary be cleansed. Okay, now, obviously, anybody that's heard my past videos or seen my end time timeline, that we go over Daniel 12, and Daniel 8 is actually very similar. Okay, Daniel 12 deals with and from the time that the daily sacrifice is taken away and the abomination of desolation is set up, there'll be 1,290 days, and blessed is he that cometh, waiteth and cometh to the 1,335th day. So we're all familiar with that. But this one here confuses a lot of people because we're dealing with 1,290 days in Daniel 12. And if you look, if you look in your Strongs and you look at the day, the 1,290 days, it's actually dealing with 1,290 24-hour periods. Now, yes, there are people that that have interpreted it to be a day for a year, and I just want to say right here and there, I've talked to many people, and actually recently to a sister online, and she believes this too, and it seems like her day to year count ends in 2023. And I'm not discounting God's ability to have prophecy fulfilled in dual fulfillments, somewhat in the past, somewhat in the future, or in different ways. As Brother Joshua says on YouTube, he says it's an onion. So there can be very many layers to prophetic fulfillment, and I do not discount that. So I'm not taking a dogmatic stance and saying I'm right and everybody else is wrong, and everybody that doesn't agree with me is going to hell and all that nonsense, because I don't feel that way. I don't believe that way at all. I believe God is sovereign and he can fulfill things the way he wants to, but it all has to come back line upon line, precept upon precept. And from what my understanding is of Daniel 12, it is actually dealing with days. And I'm not going to go over that in this video. I'm not going to go over Daniel 12 again. And I just want to give a shout out to, just personally, give a shout out to another YouTube channel out there. It's called We Are in the Tribulation. And a young lady does it. And it's an excellent, she gives an excellent synopsis of how we're in the 42 months. She believes that the 42 months began March 15th, 2020, with the first shot in the arm with Jennifer Holler in Seattle, Washington. So, and I do not discount that whatsoever. Most of you know that I believe that it started March 11th with the decree, and one of the reasons I believe that is you'll see that I believe that the beast from the earth, there's two beasts, the beast from the sea, and I believe, Ronnie Safford believes, and also Crystal from Dreaming of Heaven has another excellent video on that. Both Ronnie and Crystal have excellent videos about the two beasts, the beast from Revelation 13, the beast from the sea and the beast from the earth. And we believe that the beast from the earth is basically the UN, and the beast from the earth with the two horns is the WEF, the World Economic Forum, and the WHO, the World Health Organization. Okay, now we know that from Revelation 13 that the beast from the earth, he causeth all. Now we believe that the beasts are systems, okay, not a man. They are a collection of men, of course, but we believe they're systems. And we believe that the beast from the earth, particularly the W.H.O, and of course with the backing of the WEF, causeth all to receive the mark in their right hand and their forehead. Okay, they're the ones that put the circumstances into place where people are caused or influenced or admonished to take it, either through intimidation or by manipulation. And this, of course, this has happened, with the start, and it all started with March 11th with the decree, because the decree is what caused these things to start taking place like dominoes. Okay, even 5 days later with the first abomination in the wing of the temple. Okay, so having said that, I want to go. I just wanted to put that out there, but I want to go back to Daniel 8, and you're going to see something completely amazing. Having said that, Jesus in Matthew 24 he's basically kicking back onto what Daniel says. Jesus says in Matthew 24 that when you see the abomination that causes desolation stand in the holy place. And we know in the New Testament, the holy place is the human body. Okay. Paul says, know ye not that your body is the temple. And, he who defiles the temple, God will destroy. All right. So the false witnesses in the New Testament always give the temple as something that's built with hands. Okay. The false witnesses that came and condemned Jesus at his trial said, this man said that he would tear down this temple and rebuild it in 3 days. And they knew not that he was talking about his body. Again, we have another two witnesses to the false two witnesses in Acts chapter 6. You see before Stephen's great sermon, before he was martyred, that two false witnesses were brought against Stephen. And they said, he talks about Jesus, who said he would tear down this temple and rebuild it in 3 days. Okay. So false witnesses in the New Testament insist that the temple is a building, whether it be in Jerusalem or anywhere else. They insist the temple is a building made with hands. But we know that's the carnal interpretation. That's the false witnesses. But the true witnesses, the two witness company that have the fire coming out of their mouth today will tell you that the temple is the body. Okay, because that's what the New Testament says. All right, having said that, let's go back to Daniel 8. All right. Let's start in verse 11 again. Yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifice was taken away. And and that's the word to meet again. But we all know that the daily sacrifice is in fact Jesus Christ. He's our daily sacrifice, and the place of the sanctuary was cast down. Now, the place of the sanctuary is the body. So when the body started being cast down, that's when this day count in Daniel 8 occurred, just like it did in Daniel 12. But there's a difference here, and here's what. And by the way, Jesus said, when you see the abomination that causes desolation standing in the holy place, spoken of by Daniel the prophet. He's talking about the book of Daniel, Daniel 12, and also Daniel 8. Now I'll get back to that. And he says, let him who readeth understand, meaning it's not going to have just a surface, lying on the surface answer. You're going to have to dig a little. And we see that it's revealed in the New Testament that the temple is the body. Okay. And it says, and an host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression. And it cast down the truth to the ground, and it practiced and prospered. That's what we saw the last almost 3.5 years. Okay. With the declaration of the pandemic and this twilight zone, almost 3.5 years period of the pandemic, and how surreal it was, and how all nations were deceived by the pharmakia. I mean, it's unbelievable how it happened. You can see, I like to say hindsight is 2020, literally, because now that we're on the other side of the pandemic, and I'm going to come back to that, we're on the other side of it, you can look back and go, wow, that was crazy. While you're in it, especially at the beginning, those that were still unaware, God called me back and woke me up Father's Day 2020. And shortly after that, I figured out that, the pharmakia was the mark, and the mark was the pharmakia, excuse me. So I want you to look at verse 13. Then I heard one saint speaking to another saint. Now, doesn't that sound just like Daniel 12? The one guy is telling the other guy that's standing in the river, lifting up both his hands, that there'll be times, and half a time before all these wonders are fulfilled. But Daniel 8 gives us a detail, and it's also mentioned in Matthew 24 by Jesus himself, that we could not have known, but just little over a month ago. And this is what was shown to Brother Ronnie. This is amazing. Then I heard one saint speaking to another saint, and said, that certain saint which spake, how long shall be the vision concerning the daily sacrifice? Okay, think of pharmakia, think of what's happened, and the transgression of desolation. Okay, what's been going into the arms of almost 6 billion people over the last 3 years, and the beast that caused it, and the beast, that word beast in Revelation 13 means a venomous beast. Okay, we all know what the venomous beast is. It's the serpent, that serpent on a pole, that the image of the beast, the icon of the beast, the World Health Organization. They're the ones that kicked it off. They're the ones that caused all. And if it wasn't for that declaration, the United States wouldn't have, just a few days after, I think it was March 13th, declared its emergency, and every other nation in the world would declare its emergency. What did they do? All nations gave their power unto the beast, the venomous beast, and the venomous beast gave its power, its muscle, to the UN, and they worked and worked with each other, back and forth. It's their agenda. You see how these two beasts work together? All right. So the daily sacrifice and the transgression of desolation, to give both the sanctuary, the bodies, and the host to be trodden underfoot. Now, where does that sound like? It sounds like Revelation 11. For 42 months, the Gentiles will tread the outside of that sanctuary underfoot. Okay, tread it down. 42 months. All right. So, but here's the thing: power was given unto the beast to continue for 42 months in the book of Revelation, both in chapter 13 and chapter 11. And let me go get to this real quick. Verse 14. And he said unto me, this is the answer to how long. And he said unto me, unto 2,300 days, then shall the sanctuary be cleansed. Now, at first glance, people go, see, it's not 1,290 days, it's 2,300 days. Therefore, the tribulation and stuff is longer. It's 7 years and this and that and the other, and so many explanations. No, it's talking about 2,300 years. No, it's talking about 2,300 literal days. All right. Here's the shocking thing. And I'm going to come to the conclusion of what Ronnie discovered here. I'm just leading up to it. The 2,300 days, the word days there, this is what has puzzled scholars. It's not talking about 24-hour days. And I'm going to prove that to you right now. It's the word abir in Hebrew. But I want you to go down, same chapter, and I want to show you what the angel said in verse 20. Let's look at verse 25. Let's go back to 23. And in the latter time of their kingdom. So this is talking about our days, okay? Because there's portions of this chapter that are talking about ancient history, and there's portions that skip right into the latter times, okay? And in the latter day of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, which is now, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up, and his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power, and he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper and practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. And through his policy he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. And he shall also stand up against the prince of princes, and he shall be broken without hand. And here's the thing. This is what I want you to catch in verse 26, because this is talking about the vision of the 2,300 days. He says, and the vision of the evening and the morning, which was told, is true. Wherefore shut thou up the vision, for it shall be for many days. Okay, now in verse 26, this is where scholars come to the conclusion that the 2,300 isn't actually talking about 2,300 24-hour days. It's talking about 2,300 evening and morning sacrifices. Okay, huge difference. Now, what would that difference be? It means 2,300 morning and evening sacrifices. How long would it take 2,300, one in the morning and one in the evening? How many days would that take? Well, it's easy. You divide it by 2 because one's had taken place in the morning and one in the evening. And you come up with 1,150 days to accomplish 2,300 sacrifices. Now, where am I going with this? All right. Look at verse 13 again. Then I heard one saint speaking and saying to another saint, unto that certain saint which spake, how long shall the division be concerning the daily sacrifice and the transgression of desolation, to give both the sanctuary and the host to be trodden under foot? And he said unto me, unto 2,300 days, or 2,300 morning and evening sacrifices, then shall the sanctuary be cleansed. In the Hebrew, which we know that the sanctuary in the New Testament is the human body. Now, a lot of people will look at this and go, what's that mean? Does it mean the human body will be cleansed? Look in the Strongs, look at the word cleansed, and what it means is this, for the situation to be made righteous or justified. Okay, what is it talking about? But I believe 100% it's talking about what Jesus reiterated about this time period in Matthew 24, where he said, unless the tribulation of those days be shortened, no flesh would survive. But it will be shortened for the elect's sake. Those days shall be shortened. Okay. Now, what we're getting at here is that in Daniel 12, it runs its full course 1,290 days from the time the daily's taken away and the abomination is set up. It runs 1,290 days. Now, it just so happens that 1,290 days ends in the fall feast, right around the Day of Atonement. Okay, but here we got a figure of 1,150 days. And here's the amazing thing that Mr. Ronnie Salford discovered and reiterated to me, and my mouth dropped open and kind of hit the table. He said, Jerry, do you know, and I mean, you can look this up in Wikipedia, that, you know, the 1,150 day figure is nothing new. Scholars have, that's not what Ronnie discovered. What he discovered was this, that from March 11th, 2020 to when the pandemic was officially declared by that snake on a pole, until the day, March 5th, 2023 of this year, on the second Passover, on the blood moon. Okay, you can look it up on Ronnie's menorah chart. It's right there, black and white, fifth bowl. Well, actually red. Fifth bowl where judgment is poured out on the seat of the beast, on the throne, not the beast itself, but the throne of the beast. Okay, and the throne of the beast, you know, you can look at his videos. We surmised it's Geneva. That's where the UN is. That's where the WEF is. That's where the W.H.O is. That's where CERN is. That's where the seat of Satan is. That's where Antipas the martyr was killed back in the day, where Jesus said that's exactly where he was killed. He was killed in Geneva, Switzerland, amazingly enough. But on March 5th of this year, the WHO undid what they did March 11th, 2020, and declared the pandemic over. Now, what did that do? That started the global release of the mandates for the abomination. Okay? What it did was it justified or made righteous the sanctuary. Not those that received it, but it cut the tribulation of those days short. It did not cut short the days. the 1,290 days, the times, and half a time in Daniel 12, that the messenger lifted up both hands and swore to him who lives forever and ever would take place before all these wonders be finished. And we carry on. Those days will run their course. But the tribulation, the activity of Satan, the lying, signs, and wonders, the activity of the dragon that was performed by the beasts of the sea and of the earth, that activity would be cut short, lest no flesh, and think D to the N to the A, be saved. Okay? That activity was cut short. And people that didn't take it are cleansed in this Hebrew word. They are more than justified as to why they didn't take it. In fact, if you didn't, and you're on this side of May 5th, 2023, you feel pretty justified, don't you? You feel pretty that you made the right decision, didn't you? Because if you took it and now you're on this side of the cleansing of the sanctuary, of the cutting short, you feel pretty foolish. You didn't have to take it. You could have kept your job. You could have got it back. Some people are getting it back with back pay. The deception is crushing. Okay? Now, does that mean Satan's wrath is all over? No, because Jesus said to Smyrna that to hang tight, that do not fear what you're about to suffer. For some of you will be cast into prison. You'll have tribulation 10 days. And I've gone over that a little bit on my timeline. But the tribulation or the testing or the trial that came upon the whole earth was cut short with that declaration that the pandemic is over. It took the power of the activity of Satan out of the equation. You don't have to get it. Now, does that mean that the beast is going to give up? And no, they're going to go steamroll right ahead and try their great reset. But the iron and the clay do not cleave. Okay? Their plans will end up being an epic failure. You see, Satan is the cosmic con man. He got his part of the bargain first. Man wanted control. They wanted depopulation. They wanted everybody not to be able to buy and sell. And they wanted people to live in 15-minute cities and have this dystopian future with just a few of them at the top. But Satan only wanted one thing. And he got almost 6 billion of that. He wanted the seed. He wanted to corrupt the image in the temple. He wanted to stand in the holy place, declaring himself God. Okay, the man of sin in the Greek, in the New Testament, is anthropos harmatia. Okay, that it can mean man. It can actually, it doesn't necessarily have to be a single male adult. It can actually mean the man of sin in mankind. Okay, anthropos is mankind, and harmatia is sin. Okay, and those that took it have the man of sin, the image of the beast, standing in their temple even now. Okay, the son of perdition revealed. All right, and when you think of son of perdition, think of Judas, and think of what Jesus did. Jesus had a ministry of 3.5 years, very similar to the 1,260-day ministry of the two witness company that's happening right now. And they can't be touched until their 1,260-day ministry is done. Just like Jesus couldn't be touched until his hour came. And then you know what happened, folks? Everything happened real quick. He turned to Judas with the sop in his hand and said, "What you do quickly." All right, this isn't going to take long. All right, so I believe that until Jesus is done testifying through his two witnesses, it's Jesus doing the testifying. It's not us. It's Jesus's testimony. He's testifying in a legal proceeding that lasts for a time, times, and half a time. It's the trial that's come upon the whole earth, and people are making their eternal choices while they are alive in the body. And very soon, whether you're marked or unmarked, it will be a case of let him who is holy be holy still, and let him who is filthy be filthy still. You'll be sealed one way or the other. And my admonition to you is to start working out your own salvation. I'll tell you what, guys, I just want to be real with you. The trembling is starting to happen with me personally. I mean, when it says work out your own salvation with fear and trembling, that was always just words. But now I feel it rising. I feel it rising in my body. I feel the trembling, and I feel the urgency of getting it right, of getting it right. God is going to do a quick work in the earth, and he's coming back for a bride without spot, blemish, or wrinkle. But the good news is that if you'll finish the next verse, it says, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. But it also says, for it is God who worketh in you, both to will and to do his good pleasure. So our confidence is not in our flesh. It's not in ourself. It's not in our ability. It's in him. Him who started a good work in us will finish it. All right. So I just want you to pray and about these things that were presented, and hopefully Brother Ronnie will come and clarify and elaborate on some of these things. It's just amazing. And you think, and I'm not giving glory to anybody but God the Father and Jesus Christ, his Son, because these are talents entrusted to us. And you'll see it online, you'll see it on Facebook. There's some amazing people like that are online that are getting these things, and it seems like they're pooling to just a few people now. That's only because it's fulfilling the scripture. It says, to him who has, more will be given, and to him who has not, even that which he has will be taken from him. It'll be given to the person that's using it. So I encourage you, brothers and sisters, to use it or lose it. It is your time to testify. It is your time to open your mouth and to let Jesus Christ finish his testimony in these last days. And I think that's all I have to say. And I appreciate all of you and love all of you. And pray about these things. Test all spirits. And just God bless you.